October 1943. The drums of the Second World War echoed all around. By this time, the United States had been involved in the war for 2 years. A fierce naval battle was raging between American destroyers and the Nazis' infamous U-boat submarines. Desperate to win the war, the U.S. government was about to conduct an extraordinary experiment, an attempt to make a ship vanish right before the enemy's eyes. On October 28, 1943, the U.S. Navy's destroyer USS Eldridge was prepared for an experiment at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. The goal was to make the ship invisible and teleport it to another location. The experiment began, and with bated breath, everyone waited. Then, an unprecedented event occurred. In an instant, the destroyer disappeared with several sailors on board. Not only that, it was teleported nearly 200 miles away to the Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Virginia. After a short while, it returned again to Philadelphia. And thus, a new mystery was born, a conspiracy theory. It is said that this experiment involved Einstein's unified field theory. This mysterious and legendary test is now known as the Philadelphia experiment. But was it really carried out, or was it just a rumor? What happened to the sailors involved in the experiment? And why did the U.S. Navy and the government try to cover it up? How did this event spark so much mystery in people's minds? It is said that Einstein's unified field theory was employed. Interestingly, Einstein himself never demonstrated a practical application of this theory, and to this day, no scientist has succeeded in doing so. Yet this theory was used in the experiment. The theory proposes that if a field can be created in which light cannot enter or escape, then time within that field can be frozen. Additionally, gravity would have no effect inside. As strange as this theory sounds, the Philadelphia experiment was even stranger. That day, the destroyer Eldridge was surrounded by Tesla coils, through which high-voltage electricity from a large generator was transmitted. The purpose was to create an extremely powerful magnetic field around the ship, and it was created. The results seemed to transcend reality, entering the realm of science fiction. The Eldridge gradually vanished, but after about 10 seconds, it reappeared at the Philadelphia shipyard. It is said that during those 10 seconds, the ship was spotted at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Virginia. However, while teleporting an inanimate object like a ship was a success, teleporting living beings, namely the sailors, did not yield good results. Several sailors who disappeared at the start of the experiment were never found again. Some who returned were driven mad. Some gained strange abilities, and some had their legs melted and fused to the ship's deck. But does this experiment, which sounds like science fiction, have any truth to it? Or is it simply a rumor? Before finding out, let's learn about 2 notable individuals whose names always come up when the Philadelphia experiment is mentioned: Morris K. Jessup and the mysterious Carlos M. Allende. The government and the U.S. Navy never publicly acknowledged this incident. Yet bad news traveled fast, and through whispers and rumors, the story spread among the general public. Curiosity and mystery grew in people's minds. However, the event became more widely known thanks to Morris K. Jessup. Morris was a mathematician, astrophysicist, author, and traveler. He taught at the University of Michigan and had extensive experience in scientific research, astronomy, archaeology, and more. In 1955, driven by a fascination with UFOs, he published a book called The Case for the UFO, where he revealed astonishing details about various science-based mysteries. He also mentioned Einstein's unified field theory, which brought unexpected trouble. In 1956, Morris received a letter from a man named Carl M. Allen, better known as Carlos Miguel Allende. Allende, a somewhat eccentric sailor who served during World War II, claimed he had witnessed the Philadelphia experiment firsthand while aboard the cargo ship SS Andrew Furuseth. In his first letter, Allende warned Morris not to delve too deep into Einstein's theory, citing the government's top-secret experiment. He explained that his ship was anchored near the Eldridge during the test, guarding it. He described a circular magnetic field formed around the Eldridge, and one by one, the sailors walked into it. Then suddenly, the solid ship vanished, like something out of a sci-fi movie. He claimed that very few sailors survived, and those who did experienced horrifying consequences. Some could walk through walls, some vanished suddenly, and 2 allegedly died by bursting into flames without explanation. The teleportation may have worked for the ship, but the hyperfield created harmful effects on human beings. The U.S. Navy, realizing the consequences, allegedly covered up the entire incident. Morris and Allende exchanged nearly 50 letters. In 1957, the Office of Naval Research invited Morris for a meeting. He was handed a paperback copy of his own UFO book. Surprised, he was told this marked-up copy had been sent to Admiral N. Firth. Flipping through it, Morris found the Philadelphia chapter full of handwritten notes in 3 different colors, indicating 3 different people had commented. Upon reviewing the handwriting, Morris recognized Allende's style and confessed to the officer about the letters he'd received. That day, Morris left, but not knowing that his life was about to change forever. On April 20, 1959, Morris K. Jessup was found dead inside a station wagon in a Florida park. Authorities ruled it a suicide. He had recently divorced and was reportedly depressed. His car windows were rolled up, and a pipe was connected from the exhaust into the car. He died of carbon monoxide poisoning while the engine was running. However, many believe this was not suicide, but murder, possibly because he had uncovered too much about the Philadelphia experiment. After Morris's death, Carlos Allende also disappeared. It is believed he died in 1994. This gave rise to a new wave of mystery. Why did Morris die so suddenly? Why did Allende vanish? Many started to believe the Philadelphia experiment may have really happened. Most consider it a hoax or paranormal fiction. Scientists say such an experiment has never been successfully performed. There is no evidence that Einstein was involved. In fact, the ship's log of the USS Eldridge shows it was in Brooklyn on the day of the supposed event. For decades, Allende was the only source. But in 1994, physicist Jacques F. Vallée published an article in the Journal of Scientific Exploration. He consulted Edward Dudgeon, a Navy technician from 1942 to 45. Dudgeon said the technology used was degaussing, which only protected ships from magnetic torpedoes, not made them invisible or teleported. He dismissed the teleportation claim and said that if the ship reached Virginia quickly, it was likely through secret sea channels, not by science fiction means. In 1999, at a USS Eldridge crew reunion, a journalist was told no such experiment occurred. The ship was in Brooklyn at that time, supported by its logs, though some still claim the logs were faked. So, was it all just a myth? Possibly. But the mystery lived on, fueled by distrust in government and one eccentric sailor. So, what do you think? Was the Philadelphia experiment real? Or just a fascinating hoax that blurred the line between science and fiction?